don't care about at any given moment. This isn't a huge deal if you're just doing a lead sheet or whatever, but if you want to do a good, thorough transcription so that you or someone else can play the song and have it sound the same, you need to know exactly what that guitar is doing, and how are you supposed to work that out if you can't really hear the line. It's also helpful for analysis. When you're dealing with a complicated arrangement, it's easy to miss small flourishes that may wind up having a big impact, so developing a good sense of orchestral listening lets you quickly scan through a section and determine which areas deserve more attention. This doesn't have to be a full transcription or anything, but if you can quickly pick up the structure of each part, you can find the ones that are doing something interesting and work from there. Like, is the bass just playing chord roots? Because if so, you can probably roll it into your harmonic analysis, but if it's not, then you might want to look at what it is doing, because that could be the key to the whole piece. Plus, it helps make sure you know how many parts there are to analyze in the first place. I can't count the number of times I've started breaking down a song and suddenly heard a whole instrument I'd never noticed before. But even if you're just casually listening, taking an orchestral approach gives you more options for how to experience a piece of music. Like, longtime viewers will probably know that I'm not a huge fan of jazz. That's not to say there aren't plenty of jazz songs I enjoy, but the genre as a whole doesn't really do much for me. However, I absolutely love the sound of a walking bass, so whenever I find myself listening to jazz, I immediately key in on that bass line, tuning out the things that don't interest me as much and focusing on the best part. Orchestral listening lets me decide for myself how I want to hear a song so I can optimize it. One song you love into dozens of different musical experiences just by choosing which parts to pay attention to. And finally, catching all those nuances is super valuable if you're looking to make music. The more deeply you understand your favorite songs, the better you'll be at capturing that same impact in your own work. A lot of the time, if you're working on a song and it starts to feel stale, you don't need to write a whole new section or anything to keep it fresh. All you need is a background line or some other change to one of the instrumental parts, and if you want to write a good one, you need to know what it sounds like when it's done right. Obviously, you shouldn't just be stealing licks or anything, but if you can familiarize yourself with the sorts of tools your favorite artists use, you'll have a better sense of the tools that are available to you too. So okay, this is useful, great, but how do you learn it? What sorts of practice will help you develop your orchestral listening skills? Well, as with most ear training stuff, the gold standard is gonna be transcription. The more you take songs and try to write down exactly what they're doing, the better you'll get at hearing what that is, and that includes breaking down the orchestration. I'd say this is the main way I've cultivated this skill. I do a fair amount of transcription for this channel, and over the years I've gotten a lot faster and a lot more accurate. If you're willing to put in the work, there's really no replacement for transcription. That said, if you haven't done it before, transcription can be slow, difficult, boring, and not particularly rewarding if you don't have anything to do with the transcriptions once you've made them, so while it's definitely what I'd recommend if you're looking to do this stuff professionally, there's also some lower effort practice techniques to help get you started, and the easiest one is to just, do it. When you're listening to music, try to focus in on different parts. You probably already have some level of orchestral listening skill just from your normal music listening experience, and the more you flex that muscle, the more it'll grow. That's easier said than done though, so if you're looking for a good entry point, my advice would be to start with the bass. It's not a lead instrument, so you'll have to go digging for it, but it's also usually playing a single note melody, which tends to be easier to follow than a set of chords, and it's pretty well separated in register from the rest of the band. Stuff in the mid-ranges can be hard to isolate because they're competing with the vocals, but the bass is so low that the only real obstacle is the kick drum, and since that's non-melodic, it's relatively easy to tell the two apart. Speaking of which, you can also try locking into the percussion. Drum parts in modern popular music tend to be based on one of a couple standard patterns, and knowing what to expect can make it easier to hear. Once you start to get a hang of that, the next step is to sing along. This forces you to not just passively experience the line, but actively process it too. This will obviously work better for some instruments than others, but if you're working on a part with full chords, you can at least sing along with the highest or lowest note in the voicing. You're not trying to transcribe or anything, you're just trying to internalize the rhythm and general shape of the part. But if that's still too difficult, you might want to turn to my favorite resource for training orchestral listening skills: stems. These are effectively isolated instrument tracks, and if you use the right search terms, they're not that hard to find, although distributing stems isn't necessarily the most legal thing ever, so I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do it. Still though, if you can get your hands on the stems to a song, or even just an instrumental version with the vocals removed, they're super helpful. All you have to do is listen to the isolated track, pick out all the nuances you can, then go back to the full band recording and try to find those same things there too. Once you know exactly what the guitar fill at the end of the chorus is supposed to sound like, it's way easier to actually hear hear it. Of course, you don't want to rely on stems forever. Your end goal is to be able to do all that without needing to actually isolate the parts first, but until you can consistently do it in your head, stems and other instrumental tracks can give you the boost you need in order to get started. Now, I can't speak for every music program in the world, but I know that when I took ear training classes, this was not something we focused on. It was all melodies, chords, and sometimes rhythms. Texture and the interaction of different musical layers were treated as an afterthought if they were even mentioned at all. Instead, they were shifted to a ranging class where we learned to think about them, but didn't spend much time practicing hearing them, and looking back, I think that's unfortunate. It's tempting to blame this on music academia's obsession with classical music, and don't worry, I'm still gonna, but it doesn't even make much sense in that context. Classical music is full of symphonies, operas, and other works with rich orchestral layering. This is probably even more useful there than it is in contemporary styles. So why don't we teach it? Is it too hard to explain? Do we assume students will figure it out on their own, or is this actually a way bigger part of most curricula and I just got unlucky? I don't know, but it's a shame because as far as I'm concerned, there's not many musical skills more universally valuable than a strong sense of orchestral listening. Another great way to develop your orchestral listening skills is by mixing music, but that's a bit outside my area of expertise, so if you want to learn to do it, you should really check out Skillshare. The great thing about controlling a mix is you get to break the song up into its component parts and then play around with the levels until you can hear everything just right, and Skillshare has a bunch of classes to teach you how to do that. I recommend starting with a course by Grammy-winning audio engineer Young Guru, where he walks you through his process of determining levels, adding effects, and organizing a soundscape. It's a great introduction to the process of mixing, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. Skillshare has thousands of classes on all sorts of topics like instruments, songwriting, music business, and even non-music stuff like cooking, graphic design, and productivity. If you want to check it out, the first 1,000 12-tone viewers to click the link in the description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium with full access to all their classes, and if you like what you see, sticking around is super affordable with premium plans starting under $10 a month. And hey, thanks for watching, thanks to our Patreon patrons for making these videos possible, and extra special thanks to this video's featured patrons, Duck and Howard Levine. If you want to help out and help us pick the next song we analyze too, there's a link to our Patreon on screen now. You can also join our mailing list to find out about new episodes, like, share, comment, subscribe, and above all, keep on rockin'.
I often get asked, what's the deal with music school? Is it worth the money? Would I do it again if I were to go back? What was my experience like at a school like Juilliard? So I made a list of 7 most valuable things I learned while studying at music conservatories, things that played a crucial role in my development as a musician. I did my bachelor studies at the Juilliard School in New York City, studying piano performance. Then I got a grant to study piano and harmony in Paris at La Scuola Cantorum, after which I got my artist diploma and did a new music fellowship at the Royal Conservatory of Music, or better known as the Glenn Gould School in Toronto, Canada. Today, I work as a composer and pianist in the classical music field, as well as areas like film scoring, video games, and all the other genres I cover and explore on this YouTube channel. So by the way, please remember to subscribe to stay up to date with the videos that I upload. Otherwise, these days, it's really easy to never get notified of new videos. And also, thank you so much for all of the likes and comments. I always love how these types of discussions extend into the comments. So without further ado, let's get on to the list. Number 1, I learned that there is no such thing as over-preparation, but there is such thing as over-practicing. So let me explain. When I was at Juilliard, my teacher, Matti Recalio, helped me understand that in order to prepare for a performance, you really have to cover a wide range of types of preparation. This doesn't just include learning the notes, but also the mental aspect of getting into the character of the music, doing your research and understanding the depths of the music, and training yourself to deal with the pressure and anxiety surrounding performances. So stage fright is something that I've always struggled with, and in order to help with this, one semester my teacher recommended me to read books like Zen in the Art of Archery and various books on method acting by Stanislavski, which really did help. The thing I also realized about preparation is that the different areas you focus on shouldn't be too much out of balance. The biggest example of this is over-practicing, especially in terms of the number of hours you're spending on a piece. I just noticed that there is a cap. There's a certain drop-off point where after a certain amount of hours, tacking on more on top of that, especially on the same day, is not going to help you improve what you're doing at all. In fact, it can very easily lead to injuries, especially if you're not minding your form and practice methods. I saw many students and teachers suffer all kinds of injuries, including carpal tunnel, tendonitis, repetitive stress injury, hearing loss, and also a major part of this were mental health issues. These things are all connected. So it's best to be mindful of this balance. Number 2, I learned that it is so important to speak up, ask questions, and ask for specific feedback. So it is a myth to think that just by going to music school, you'll automatically be given a ton of attention, support, feedback, and valuable information on a regular basis. This is so not true. You can actually go to a conservatory, sit quietly in the corner in your classes, or not go to classes, not talk during your lessons, and only receive whatever comments and feedback you get, do your assignments, and graduate. In my opinion, you can learn so much more from having a dedicated private teacher and watching some YouTube videos if you approach it this way. So for the first year and a half I was at Juilliard, straight out of high school, I was quite shy and timid, and I didn't communicate much with my teacher. So going into a lesson, if there was something I needed more help on, but my teacher didn't address it, I would just assume he might talk about it the next week. It took me a while to just realize by asking him the question in the lesson, we could work so much more efficiently. It seems silly in retrospect, but at the time I thought I would come off as being a little needy or incompetent if I asked too many things. In another instance, my fixed lesson time was 8:30 a.m. or 9 a.m. One of those two, I can't remember, but it was early for me, and I am not a morning person. I lived in the dorms, which is one building over from the main campus, and I remember so many lessons.
Pause. There we go. All right, now I'm trying yet another sort of setup here. Not sort of setup, but some things are similar, some things are different. For the live stream today, I hope everybody's good. I'm back. I took the weekend off from being where I live, and I went and did some camping with some friends and had a really nice time. It's great to be in the mountains hiking and around water, in some water, in the sun, in the trees, in the rain. I'm happy to be back also, back to the live stream. All right, there we go. Okay, see some people watching. So once again, I'm not going to show the chat on the screen. That way you keep some privacy, but I will respond to the people in the chat, and please feel free to interact. It's great to see you. Hey, NYC MIA, and hey, Birdie Wooster. How y'all doing? I know that I can respond to the chat. Some people will see it, some people won't. This is great. Let me go to, let's see, I'm using this new, slowly starting these OBS plugins. Let's see, I gotta turn this one off and turn this one on. Oops, wrong way. I should have gone, let's see, wait, not that way, this way. Turn that one on. Hey, BGR. Yeah, great to see everybody. There. That's for you, BGIR. BGR. Chicago has that great problem having two wonderful baseball teams, and people really feel very strongly about the one that they like. I'm learning. Chicago. I'm going to be in Chicago for the ATG festival that's happening in July. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to checking it out and meeting everybody. The ATG is really, I was just talking to somebody about this earlier today. We were talking about how the ATG has revamped and revitalized their organization, and they're doing a lot of content, which is really cool. And that will be fun. So for anybody that's in Chicago, I'm on one of the concerts. I need to figure out which one it is. It's an afternoon concert. I'm performing one solo piece, and I think there's an ensemble. There's a performance of, you know, the work of this musician that we're going to be playing. There we go. Go Sox in the chat. Yeah. Cool. All right. So today we're going to talk about it's appropriate that I wore this. Keep your eye on the ball, which I think we all know. If you've ever played a sport where you're throwing balls around or getting them thrown at you, you got to keep your eye on that ball. I don't think that you need. That's a good question. In the chat, the question is asked, do you need to be a member to attend? I don't think so, but I'm not sure. I don't think that membership is required for the organization, but I've never been to this festival before, and I haven't scoured the website. They have a good website. Let me see if I can find it and put it in the chat. Or I know, how about this? Even better. We can find out together. ATG accordions. Let's see. I'll pull up the, there we go. Accordionists and Teachers Guild. Let's find out. Here's the festival. My upload stream, I think, is better. Well, I know it's better. Better upload stream using this system that I have, but my download is a little slow. All right, let's look at pricing. That's going to be the main question for everybody. All right. Oh, yeah, it does change. It changes if you're a member or not a member. So let's see. Individual items. All right, so if you just want to come to... All right, so let's see. The package will get you... registration, festival brochure, competition viewing, festival orchestra workshops, exhibits, 5 concerts, Wednesday meet and greet. You get 1 lunch and 1 banquet. Does not include open bar gatherings, okay, or bus transportation. Okay, from the hotel to Wheaton College venue for 3 days. Alrighty, that's interesting. Okay. Then the individual item registration. Okay, if you do not plan to attend all the events, you can select the individual events that you want to go to. So I might be on the Thursday lunch. I don't know. I should check this out and let you guys know. I'm planning to be there for the 4 days, I think. Do the festival orchestra under the baton of Joanne Cochran Summers. That will be very cool. Meet a lot of the other great musicians. Stas Van Gilevsky is a really phenomenal accordion player. Does a lot of stuff. Okay, cool. There we go. So there's the details, BGR, or anybody else that wants to come. I'm also planning to go out into Chicago. I kind of think I'm going to drive, although that will take a couple days, so I'm not sure, but that might be the easiest. I definitely want to go into Chicago. I have couple people that I want to see. There's somebody who I know, who I've met in Madison a couple times. This really great guy named Francone. He's from Italy originally, and he has a wonderful group called, what are they called? La Strada? No. They're called, maybe they are called La Strada. Anyways, he has a really great group with his wife on viola and some other musicians. They do all kinds of really cool Italian music. And then there's a Chicago accordionist named Jimmy Keene, who someone who's a friend and a student introduced me to. Ooh, is the video skipping? Thank you, Dread Pirate. That's a good question. I want to know if the video is skipping and repeating randomly. Please let me know, everybody in the chat, if the video is acting weird. Because this is a new setup, and I tried it out earlier today. I tested it out. But it might not let me know. Anyways, there's a guy named Jimmy Keene who we have checked out. He plays videos fine. Okay. All right. It might be you, Dread Pirate. Okay, John Simkus. All right. Yeah, I got to write that down. Somebody else in the chat said, check out John Simkus. Yeah, that might be a fun thing to just start with. Before we get into this other stuff, let me see if I can find John Simkus. Chicago accordion. Let's see. I'm searching. There we go. All right. Chicago Accordion Club. Oldest accordion store. What do we got here? I want to find the right John Simkus video. All right, we got a lot of different stuff. Do I have it spelled right? Here we go. Isn't that funny that like Google does a better search than the actual app than the YouTube thing? There's a lot of websites that are like that. All right. Let's check this out. This is at the Frank Morocco event. Playing an Astor Piazzolla piece. I wonder who did the arrangement. That looks like Frank Petrilli in the background there. Very nice. Very nice. Well, I hope to see John Simkus there. To interact with that a little bit, everybody out there watching and listening, Binchy Reads, yeah. NYCMIA, LAMIA says in the chat that John Simkus's accordion has Binchy Reads, and it's a Petosa AM 1100, which is a legendary accordion model. Okay, everybody listening to practice kind of engage with some of the theme for today's stream. What of that music that we just heard do you remember? Practice your memory, and how much do you hear in your head? How much could you follow? And some of it's, it's based on a lot of things. Have you heard it before? Have you played it before? How closely were you paying attention and all that sort of stuff? But can you first make it happen again in your head? Maybe the opening melody. Bum ba do dum dum dee dee dum dum da do dum dum dee dee dum. Ba do da da dee dee dum dum da bu da da dee dee da. Something like that. Then here's another question for you to engage with this. How many different parts did you hear? Because it's going to be a big thing that we're going to talk about today, is this idea of not just hearing something, but especially as an accordion player, because we're almost always playing more than one part, but hearing multiple parts at once, which I'm going to call contrapuntal hearing, or polyphonic. I guess that's probably a better word for it, right? Polyphonic. Many voices. So, what did you hear, or how do you conceive of what you hear? Which I think is really good to exercise the inside music in our heads. Check in with the chat here. Cool. All right. Jimmy Keane is another musician that we've definitely checked out on the live stream before. I want to see if there's anything really recent. Seven days ago? But is this Jimmy, or is this just his... I don't think this is Jimmy. Maybe. Interpreted. Okay, yeah. No, I think it's Jimmy's. Here we go. Inside the Banjoverse podcast. That's cool.
My guest.
Good for Jimmy, man. He's got a great career.
Accordion player extraordinaire, originally from Galway, now resident in the Windy City of Chicago.
I'm trying to find if he's going to play his accordion. I don't see him putting his accordion on here at all. Man, look at that. All right. Well, this is uploaded recently, and that's good enough for me. But it's from 2014.
Thank you.
Before we start, to keep us on theme, practice singing along. See if you can pretend like you're trying to play along with the music that you're hearing, and you're trying to figure out every note. Oh, what was that note? Which means you got to stay glued. You got to stay hyper-focused, meaning keep your eye on the ball. And instead of playing along with your accordion, hear yourself singing in your head. And maybe, start with picking the melody. And then at a certain point, switch to something else. If there's a left hand or the guitar part, if there's something you can hook onto, try to stick and stay with that. And so it involves your intuition too, guessing what's going to happen next. Just like in playing a sport, like if you're playing basketball, say, and you're guarding somebody, you're following them, especially if they have the ball. You are trying to watch them and also predict where they're going to move. It's being hyper-focused as a metaphor for us. So practice that as we listen to this guy, Jimmy Keane, that I'm really hoping to catch a performance of while I'm in Chicago next month.
Thank you very much. That was kind of like a Queenie wave.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Why don't you introduce this one there, Mr. Paddle?
We've watched this video on the stream before.
Cable. Oh, there it is.
I'm skipping past the intro. Sorry. I thought they were tuning.
That's all there needs to know. Why don't you go give it a no start there?
composite that goes on for a little while. Yeah, really, really pretty ballads. Fun to watch, like Jimmy's face and just see he's pure, pure listening and embodying what's happening. He's not using his eyes at all. So we talk about expression, being really hyper present, being very, very expressive. I think this is a good example of that. But okay, now here's your test. How much of it can you sing back in your head? If you were singing, hopefully you were. Bum da dum bum. Do you have any more? The melody started with a guitar. I went over to the accordion a little bit, mostly the guitar melody. This is kind of like the fundamental, the primary skill to start with for this sort of thing. And I think that it is primary and fundamental to all musicianship, to all playing music. And in my tradition of learning, it took me a long time to get to this point. This was not an idea that I figured out at all, ever. Nor was it anything that was demonstrated to me. It might have been happening around me and I wasn't aware of it, but nobody beat me over the head with it and said, you're not doing this, you need to do this, For a long, long time, way too long, especially when I loved music, like I love music and it's what I do every day in some capacity. And it makes me have a very fulfilled, satisfied life. But I think when I was younger, I was even more, I think it gave me even greater pleasure, I think, looking back on it. Just everything was new and I don't know, that kind of always hearing new sounds and stuff. There's something about that. But despite that, and despite how, really, really into music I was and played a lot, I didn't play like that. Didn't figure that out. I was very much about shapes on the piano, and the clarinet were my instruments, and a little bit of vibraphone there for a little while. That was really fun. But very much thinking about shapes and not using my ears in my ears to hear things from the outside, nor my inside ears. I guess I was, and probably everybody does, but not very thoroughly, and certainly not like relying up here. And I remember even friends of mine that played music that I looked down on. That wasn't my music, but also I thought, I'm playing much more complex music. They were better musicians than me in a lot of ways because they were using their ears. Like, all my high school friends were into punk music, and a lot of them started punk bands and stuff, and they all used their ears to figure all that stuff out. I'm there a lot more now, but it's still something that I work on. And I wouldn't say it's maybe one of my greatest gifts, as far as what I got going on with my music. And so it's something that I definitely work on. And so in that vein, I want to kind of show you something that I've been doing that's a way of explaining kind of this work. And this is something I want to explore it on this stream today. I want to explore this on my accordion, and feel free to grab your accordions and play along with me. And I'm going to explore it first. I'm going to show you how I've been spending my time doing it. Let me do this. I got to get another window capture going on. This one will be Fourscore. Ta-da! Okay, now we need the Fourscore app. Where is that? Here it is. Voila. Okay, perfect. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay. I should have done this differently. I should have made a new scene. That's okay though. Drag this up from the bottom. I can do that there. Maybe make that a little smaller. Move my video. Oops, not that one. Me. I'll go there, just like that. Okay. I assume you can all see that. And then I have a new little overlay, although I'm gonna have to move this overlay. Got it. Here we go. Okay. We'll move this one over here. How about that? That's not so bad. All right, so there's really two parts here. Can I make it even bigger? Hope you can see it. It's 4 measures of music. It's exercise number 1 in this wonderful method for I would suggest it for any freebase, anybody who's doing freebase stuff. It's called mi primero año con el bandoneón, and which translates to my first year with the bandoneón. And it has scales and fingerings for bandoneón and shapes and stuff like that, but it has also these beginning exercises like this exercise number 1 that gives you very simple polyphony, 2 melodies. And we can do this on the Stradella accordion too. We usually don't think to. We'll get to the Stradella. I'm gonna do this same idea on a Palmer Hughes Pas song from the first Palmer Hughes book. And this is how I'm working and finding it enriching, and a suggestion or an idea, sort of a laboratory, which I think is a cool idea. So I'll pick up my instrument here. And the exact order, I think you can figure out what works best for you. But down at the bottom, let's see if I wiggle this thing around. It says here, play, here, comma, play, comma, sing, comma, sing plus play. That's one formula for you. And what does that mean? Okay. Well, first of all, here. So let's practice hearing the music. And should I blow this up more? That's a lot better to read, isn't it? And then I can just move. Let's see, where's me? I can move me over here. That's good. That's all you need to see of it. All right, so we'll practice hearing. And maybe I could see this. For a lot of people, they'd be like, well, what do I hear? I don't know what the music is supposed to sound like, and that's okay. The more you do this, you'll begin to develop what we call sight singing. Sight singing is a really fundamental ability for people who read music. You want to be able to look at the music and hear it in your head. That's it. That's really what's going on. So for everything that we do, we want to build the skills of hearing the things in our head and then moving our instrument, making the air vibrate around us based on what we're hearing in our head, and what comes through our ears, we're also understanding where we have the language. So for sight singing, we could give ourselves the starting note, or we could just choose a note. In this case, I'm going to give myself the starting note. This part of it, I would say if you can't do this at all, don't worry, because you're going to hear the melody in a second. In step 2, you'll hear it, and then we'll be able to know what it sounds like, and then you can practice the memory of music, which is a big part of it too. So starts 3, 4. Dee da dee da dee da 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 dee da da. That's the melody, right? We could do all kinds of different things with it. We could now that we've heard it, right? Can you sing it back? Can you sing it in your head? Let's sing it in our head. 1, 2, ready, go. Feel the music of the held notes. It's very important. You can count or you can feel. I think feeling is even better. On that last C. Ba. You can't really exactly see, and if I overdo the movement, it's not good for the air. So holding up my fingers is a good way to show you, but you can feel 4 beats. We've talked about that before. That's really, rhythm is about feeling. It's a sensation, not a thought. Okay, so let's play it on the accordion, which would be the next step. All right, so here I go. I'm gonna play just the melody. 1, 2, 3, and I pull. Okay, all right, that was not bad. All right, and now I want to sing it. We already sang it, or you heard me sing it, but I'm gonna sing it again now. Let me check the chat too. Where's the chat? Nothing in the chat. Let me know if the accordion is too loud. I'll just move the microphone back. So now that we've practiced hearing it, if you're coming back to this melody, which we will, you're gonna practice the recall of it, which is a very vital skill for musicians to practice our musical memory. Okay, so now we're gonna sing it. 3, 4. Dia du abiau da dia do. Okay? And now we're gonna sing it and we're gonna play it. And that's where I find that my intonation, which often I'm flat or sharp, I'm often I don't have great intonation. Intonation is are we in tune? Are we hitting the pitch exactly? Not a little high or a little low. And then with more challenging music, I'm just hitting the wrong notes. And so I find playing and singing is really, really helpful. So I think that's really good. It like governs. It sets you in line with the actual thing. If we just practice singing alone and we just practice playing alone, but we didn't practice them together, I don't think that we would have that regulation. There's another regulation that comes, another helping thing, like a symbiotic sort of thing that I'll talk about in a second. But let's do it together. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's that. All right. Now the other regulation thing, in addition to just the how accurately am I hearing the notes, which we want to be crystal clear and perfect, is the musicality of it, the expression. So when we sing, we are much more likely to be expressive versus when our fingers move. You know, the expression will happen naturally. There will be a natural beauty to it. Or much more likely for there to be a natural beauty. So then, if I go into just any of these expressive properties, like let's do dynamics. I think that's the number one that makes us feel stuff. You know, that makes our heart go, oh wow, oh my gosh. You know, although they're all important, none is more important than the other, but that one in particular makes us really go, oh. And let's just do a shape to it. So if I start softer and I get louder as the melody goes up, let's try that. You can listen to me, or you can try to sing along with me like we were talking about, or just actively listen, sing in your head while I'm singing. 3. Right? I think that's more interesting. Do that again. 2, 3. And I want to take and I want to relax it at the end. Because the note comes down, it goes from G to the F. It comes down a little bit, but also because we want to find places to relax the tension. This is an idea of Jacques Mornet, and I think also a fundamental law of music that he stresses. So much easier to do that and to really do it with every cell, to really feel it, right? Much easier if we're singing. Even if you hit the bad notes, I tell this to my students all the time. Sing as a way of practicing the musicianship and practice getting the melody deeply into you. And don't worry about, I'm hitting the bad notes and all that sort of stuff, which is easy for me to say because the hierarchy is, I'm prepared. I'm comfortable with singing poorly in front of my student, but they may not be comfortable singing poorly in front of me, right? But hopefully over time, as the relationship and with repetition of repeating that and showing that it's a safe space to try, hopefully that gets better and better. Some people just really are very uncomfortable singing. That's okay too. We work with everything. So just because if you are a person for whom singing just really, really is uncomfortable, even when you're by yourself and you're sure nobody else is hearing, that's okay. There's a million ways to musicianship. Sing in your head, But I do think if you're comfortable with it, singing is a very, very powerful tool of connecting. So the two benefits of singing and playing together, one is the accuracy of your ear. The other is the performance practice, the doing of the expression, right? So I'm going to attempt to do both. And in order to do both, I have to practice listening also. So not only am I singing, I'm listening to the instrument, that's the accordion, and I'm listening to my voice. And I want to make sure that the instrument is matching my voice because I'm happy with the performance of my voice. Okay, so here I go. 2, 3. Dia, 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 da, da, dee, da, da. It's okay. A little bit more practice would make it better, and I think I am distorting a little bit. Gotta move the microphone. Or you know what? I'll just sit back a little. I'll move the microphone right before I play and move it back. So I wouldn't spend an hour on this, but I would continue the process. And continuing the process, I think, is very, very, very important. Very, very important, because the more we do this, the more we start to deeply connect with the music in a way that we're living it. And the music is like language, it's very, very similar to language. But there's something that music does that language doesn't do in the same way. And that is that when we speak, we don't speak 2 or 3 conversations at the same time. Even in performance, even when it's not a real conversation between 2 people, as is most of our lives, even in the performance, like a theater thing or somebody broadcasting, speaking, we don't do that. But on many instruments, we do, or a few, I should say, we do say multiple things at the same time. And that's very hard to do. And it often gets overlooked and understated, the challenge of that. And I think the more I think about it, or where my head is at lately, is, wow, how cool is it to practice that, to practice the presentness of being musical on the multiple parts that we have at one time. So to that end, I'm going to now do the same step on the left-hand part. And there's one thing going on here, which is I added a third part to this music. So in the left hand, you'll see 2 parts, but just disregard the second part. I wonder if there's a way to not show. I still don't know Fourscore as well as I should. Let me see here. Where's Heather? She knows how to do this. There is a way that I can not show all the layers. Let's see, settings. I'm not going to spend very much time on this. But there's a way to not see the my writing in there, but that's okay. Disregard the lowest notes. We're only doing the notes that are above the top line of the bass clef. And I know what the melody is. And since you don't, I'm going to sing it, because I think for a lot of us out there, it's not a normal thing to expect that a musician can sight sing, in this country, at least, in my experience. Although it ain't that hard, all this stuff is no harder than moving your fingers and the bellows on the accordion. It's just, what have you done? That's one of my favorite things to bring up and say. It's a little thing that I kind of found, an idea I found, which is, okay, you can say easy and hard, or you can say, instead of easy, you can say very similar to things I've done before. And for hard, you can say very different from things I've done before. And I think that's a very compassionate way. It works for me, and maybe it's just all of my issues and neuroses there causing problems for me, but it's a good little tool for me to go, oh yeah, that's right. Just chill out, take your time, stay focused. Don't let that inner voice distract you. It's good. Okay, so 3, 4. I gotta sit up straighter. I was up a half step. Da. Okay, I'll say the notes again. 3, 4. C, B, C, D, E, D, C. Okay, now let's hear that. Let's practice hearing that. 1. So we'll start now at the beginning of my little list that I have under the red block, the red box with words here that says practice hearing. We'll start now with here. So we're just going to hear it. You can hear my beautiful singing. You can hear an instrument, whatever you like. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. And I heard not my voice and not my performance, a performance that was less strained, less tense. Because for me, there's a lot of tension in singing. Okay, so now we're going to play it. And for me, because I work a lot on this freebass, it's going to be a lot on my left hand. And like I said today, we're going to check out also a Palmer Hughes like Stradella thing, which will be the left hand, and we'll sing that. But for now, this is it. You can totally do this on Stradella bass too. This would be fine. Your octaves might dip and the melody will sound a little different, but okay, so I'm gonna play now. 1, 2, 3, pull. 2, 3, 4. All right, now I'm gonna sing it. 1, 2, 3. Ba da 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 da. I don't have enough there. I should have breathed. It's hard to breathe very quickly. Ba da da. Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna play and sing. 1, 2, 3. Ba da da da. I'm trying to add musicality here in the same way, similar way, you know, to the left hand. So we don't want, there's movement and life. There's life in dynamic changes, volume changes, right? If I play with no volume changes, the melody is dead. It's not living. But if I play with volume changes, then I have a living melody, and a wonderful clue for that is follow the shape of the pitch. As the pitch of the melody goes up, get louder. As the pitch of the melody goes down, get softer. And relax the tension at the end of your phrases. Very important. Unless there's a specific reason, you know, like you have 2 phrases back to back, a question phrase and an answer phrase, then you can keep the tension up. You don't want to relax it completely, or else it won't feel like a question that needs an answer. Dee da do da, da do do do. Be-da boo-da-da, be-dee-dee-dee-dee. Right, you get the idea. Bad singing, but okay. So now we've gone through the right hand and the left hand, and now what we want to do is we want to put them together, and really that's the deeper thing here, which I think anybody could practice immediately. You know, of course, you'd want to do the right hand alone, always. Do the left hand alone, always, and then start working on them. Start working on them together, right? And very, very, very important. A little tricky to get started with just because it's new, but you don't have to do it on anything complex. And it's gonna be complex just doing it. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna play the left hand, the part that I just played, and I'm gonna hear the right hand melody. Because you may have forgotten it. If you do forget it, then just play it for yourself, and I'll play it if you've forgotten it. Okay, there's the melody. So we're gonna sing that in our heads and really try to make it. It doesn't have to be as loud. It should be very musical. It should be the music that it should be, but it should be clear. It shouldn't be sort of obscured. I don't know a better way to talk about that. So here we go. 1, 2, hear the melody. 3, 4. Okay, how did you do? Let's try playing 2 hands together. 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna listen. Okay, that's helpful. So we can hear it there again, you know, and the nervous system can do it, and we can hear the 2 parts together. Now we're going to sing the right hand part while we play the left hand melody. 1, 2, 3. My held notes, you know, it's just fun, just telling you what's in my head. I think I'm getting a little self-conscious about my singing, but yeah, you just hear, oh, not quite there. All right, that's the practice, and I might do that again, you know, and definitely do it multiple days in a row. Okay, now I'm gonna play and sing together. Okay, so here we go. And the part that I'm working on now, correct, or so you're with me, is the right hand. I'm working on the right hand while playing the left hand. So it's 2 hands together, but I'm working on the right hand. Okay. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 3. B, I, D. Played the wrong note in the left hand. 1, 2, 3. B, I, D, I, D, I, da, da, dee, da. Hard for me to get softer with my voice but not have the pitch go flat. Okay, all right, good. So maybe I would do that again, or faster, or change it in some way, you know. It's good when we're doing exercises. It's good to make little small changes in the interpretation of them, because it keeps us hyper focused, and it gives us more. You get more out of your practice that way. So, for example, if I played everything detached instead of legato, ta, and maybe I'll say the ta as I'm singing. 3, 4, ta 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 ta. Ta 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 ta. That's more of a Lou-Ray, but you get the idea. I could do staccato. Dit 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 dit. Something like that. Go faster, go slower, whatever. Swing it. Bing ba doom da dum da dum. These little changes on the things, even if you're working always, you know, whether it's a little exercise like this is, or whether it's a piece you're working on, you know, we always have to put in practice. The way of practicing is deep focus, pulling things apart, you know, and then putting them back together, pulling them apart, putting them back together. And so you're always, hey, Courtney, great to see you. You're always, you know, you take it down so you could really put your focus on it and get deep into it. And really, ultimately, you're trying to make the music in your head super, super clear, super vibrant is a great way to put it, I think, because vibrant, full of the emotional capacity. And maybe I believe in this ethos that, you know, a ballad is going to feel like a ballad most of the time, and an up-tempo song is going to feel like a fast up-tempo song most of the time. However, inside of that, while you're respecting the song, there's lots of room for variation, and I think that that's how we live our lives. I think it makes a very dull musical experience to work very hard on always performing a piece the same way. What we want instead is to practice myriad ways of performing a piece, and really owning it. You know, in my opinion, I'm not a professional concertizing musician. Well, I mean, I play professionally, but I don't do like classical concerts and stuff and supposed to do in this style. But that's my ethos. I think that's how it should be, and that's what I want to hear. And so this gives you the ability to stay focused. That's always a problem in practice, is getting dull, getting bored, thinking about something else. And if we reach that point, we need to change what we're doing. You can either just say, I'm going to go on to something else. I was working on the right hand, I'm going to go on to the left hand. I was working on this piece, I'm going to go on to another piece. I'm going to take a break and come back. Or I'm going to practice this a different way. I'm going to look at this a different way. That's one thing that it gives us. And then it also gives us to practice with great vibrancy, to practice different ways of expression, I think is what it's all about. To have the tools of expression, to practice saying different things on the same text. Okay. All right. So now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do the left hand as our model instead. So do you remember what the left hand sounds like? I do this because you can see the number of days I had worked on this a few weeks ago. I'll sing it. 3, 4. Da 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 da. I cannot breathe as fast as I can change my arm direction. So I wind up putting a little space in there. I think Jacques would not like that. He would tell me to fix that. That little space. So that's the sound of it. Let's hear it in our heads. 2, 3. For me, one of the things that I notice is I need to add a little bit more music, and that music is also in my body. So I find myself rushing much more so when I sing a melody in my head like this, than I would if I'm playing it. I find myself rushing, not keeping good count, not making those last half notes. But if I add more music in my imagination, so dum bum dum bum dum bum dum bum ding brum dum bum bum, you know, it doesn't have to be notes, but it should be a feeling of the music, a feeling of the time there, you know, something happening to mark that time. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to play it, because I probably shouldn't if this is my part, you know. I'm not talking about actually changing our parts. I'm talking about adding more music, adding more what we call subdivisions to the time. So I'm going to try that again, singing. And if you had that, well, regardless, sing it again with me in your head. 2, 3. Okay. Now let's try something that we didn't try before, which is, let's try hearing the other melody. Maybe you were hearing the other melody also already. I wasn't. I was just hearing the left-hand melody. But I imagine there are a lot of people out there that naturally do a lot of these, a lot of people who either have practiced or are just natural musicians that are doing a lot more than I am. I suspect that I don't have a whole lot of natural talent for that going on, which is okay. It's a coping mechanism. It's the way I see my life, you know. It's okay. I don't have to be born with all of the skills, and life is for learning and exploring and growing. So now we're gonna try to hear both parts. We're gonna listen really, really close. And remember, the melody is bum ba dee adu adum, and the accompaniment part, or the second voice, is da 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 da. Let's try to hear them both. See what you got. We'll just do the first 2 bars. 1, 2, ready. This is when it really gets interesting. Okay, so how clearly can you hear it? Can you hear the first 2 notes together? Now they're a unison, which I can do on my accordion. It's a free bass. Should be here. 2 C's. Can you hear? Imagine my accordion. Imagine your accordion. Imagine 2 flute players. Now, imagine one of the top melody going D-ah, and the other one just still holding on da. Ready? Imagine. Did the other voice go da? Hold out. Let's try that again. Ready? Go. Now, the second voice is gonna go da da, and the first voice is gonna go dia dia. Let's try that. Hear it. 1, 2, ready. Ah, the church bells are going. This might be distracting to you. I don't know if you can hear that or not. It's over. Oh, it's 1 o'clock, so we only get one one peal or whatever. Okay, here we go. 1, 2. No. That was it. Okay, 1, 2, ready. Now, a little trick here, this is fun, a little fun practice too, is to hear a melody and then come in with it. And I saw this on one of the Edwin Gordon videos. The teacher had it was a class of very young kids, like kindergarten or something, or first grade, and they were singing like a nursery rhyme, like Mary Had a Little Lamb. And she had these little puppets. I think it was like a bunny puppet. And she said, okay, when you see the bunny puppet, you're going to sing out loud. And when the bunny puppet goes back in its little hole, it was like a little box. When the bunny puppet goes back in its hole, then we only hear the music in our head, but the song's going to keep going. So it was like, okay, dia, 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 dia. Right? That's a fun trick too. So you can do that in various ways. These are all just like little ways to explore melodies or explore this audiation thing. And I think the more we practice like this, the stronger it gets. The stronger the skill set gets, the stronger our musicianship wants to hold on to that stuff. And it's from that we are most deeply connected to life itself, to our souls, whether the music comes from. Is our music a voice? Are we channeling from something? I don't know. These are deep existential questions, which I think music engages with. Music is that thing that is about. It's about feeling. Okay, so to return to the left hand. Bum dum. Let's see. We heard. Now we're gonna play. We're gonna play the 2 hands. I don't remember if I did that or not. I think maybe I did. 3, 4. Okay, now I'm gonna sing the left hand while I play the right hand. Here I go. Ba ba ba. That's where it is. 3, 4. Ran out of air. Okay, I need to be better at breathing, but that's the idea. Okay, now I'll sing and play. Move the microphone back a little bit. 3. Okay, I do in my accordion, not in my voice. That's it. Okay, let's audiate again. Just listen to both hands. 3, 4. And again, so to play a game with that audiation, it would be to hear both hands, and maybe I'll start by singing the left hand, and then I'll try to skip to the right hand in the next measure. 3. Ba da, be da Z da 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 dee da da. Should have been dee da da. That's hard. Ba da dee dee da da. Let's see. And then I gotta go to left hand, right? Dum dum da 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 da. It's more like thinking about which part do I need to hear. So more work. I need to do more work doing that for sure. But that should all be vibrant, I think. You know, this is my ethos and what I've been up to. Some people are great at this. My friend Gabe in Seattle, amazing musician and always used his ear. I've talked to him a lot about it. It seems like from talking to him, his ear has always been his sort of primary tool set. And he said he felt like his progress was slower for a while, on piano first, and then maybe accordion. But then, rap. You know, at a certain point, then it's just really, really took off. Okay, so that's a flow. That's sort of an idea. We got plenty of time. We still got another hour. We haven't watched really hardly any videos. So, hearing polyphony, being polyphony, being many voices, being with many voices, very, very clearly, is what this is about. Let's see, let me make this go away. Nope. Sorry, guys. That's what I want. Move this over here. Okay. So, let's check out some music now. Or go over here. All right. Got a playlist. Yeah, this is good. Let's check out this. I like this video. This piano teacher. Does she tell us her name? I just found her for the first time today. She has a lot of great stuff. Emma Lumen, it looks like. I want to show you her channel too. She's got a lot of great stuff. Lots of videos on classical piano music, Rachmaninoff. She talks a lot about practicing, and although I haven't watched the videos, my sense is that there's probably a lot of good stuff in there. She has videos in Italian and also in English here, and she gets very, very. Here's the problem: lack of precise expression and articulations. Here's the cause, and here's how we fix it. I think that's very cool. I like how she's done this. Here's the problem: lack of color, richness, intensity. That's what's the cause of it, and here's the solution for it. Big jumps, and a lot of this stuff applies to us as accordionists. And then she has I want to watch these. I think we'll go check her out on a future live stream. But for today, I wanted to watch her.
In our imagination, again, everything we do is.
All right, let's bring this to the beginning. So this video is 3 minutes long. Let me know. It's kind of soft for me. Let me know if it's too soft for you.
The way we control our fingers is by our imagination. Every energy that we create in our mind, firstly. So when it's time to play 4 parts chord in the right hand and 4 parts chord in the left hand, like both together, 8 notes together, you have to be able to imagine them in your head. All the problems like messing up with notes, you know, some fingers not playing, it's only because you cannot hear all the chords fully in your head. And when it comes to the part when we have...
Okay, so everything we play is based on what we're hearing, and if we're making mistakes, for example, a chord, she says the cause of the problem is that we're not hearing it clearly in our head.
To play.
Which, that's our ethos. That's the ethos of that we're trying to be here, is hearing it.
This chord, for example, 8 notes together. If this chord, if we come to this chord from the low part, and this chord is gonna go to the right. So if this chord is going to the right, then we start imagining every note sequentially from the left to the right, like this. And then we reduce time between notes in our imagination. Again, everything we do is our imagination. Till we hear all the notes from this pace, it comes to this pace, the vertical line, and we can hear all the notes evenly right away in our head.
That's cool. So that's a way to hear the harmony, is to do one note at a time, stacking. You go from low to high, hear it, hear the next one, hear the next one, hear the next one. And then, like we do in a lot of our other practice, then you speed it up slowly.
Even though you may think that's not really important, that it's better to, you know, repeat this chord.
This is something that you don't really find people talking about very much at all, which is how to hear harmony. You hear a lot about how to hear melody, but not very much about how to hear harmony. And also, like I showed earlier today, we don't find very much instruction, even in ear training, about hearing multiple things at the same time, which is what we have to do as an accordion player. And we want to be vibrant and attached to everything that comes out of our instrument.
And for hundreds of times every day, trust me guys, that wouldn't work as much efficient as this thing. You better develop your polyphonic ear, then it will help you with any fugue of Bach, with any polyphonic pieces that you play, because you will control every voice, no matter how many voices you're gonna play simultaneously. So the first thing, coming back, I'm sorry, the first thing, you will develop your polyphonic ear by doing these exercises, every single chord. Imagine notes first sequentially, then reducing time, and here you go, you can hear 8 parts right away in your head. Then when you would play them, you would first imagine, feel it, and your fingers would already know what to play, and this is how you control your fingers. So they would exert in the right amount of exertion, you know.
Hello everyone and welcome.
The way we can
Sorry, trying to hit pause. Cool. All right, so that's one video that I thought was really cool. This is about Baroque improvising, which I think is very cool. All right. I started with, here, let's do this. This is a practical video. We'll watch this guy, Frank Wallace.
Hi, it's Frank Wallace here. I've done a short series of videos on some of my simple pieces called single.
And this one's called Polyphonic Exercise for Guitar.
In it, we talked about rest stroke in the thumb, free stroke in the finger, rest stroke in the finger, free stroke in the thumb. So what I wanted to do right now is just give you a brief introduction to a very simple but profound exercise that I give my students and try to remember to practice myself, because it's something that doesn't come totally naturally. And that is playing with different dynamics in the fingers and the thumb. So what I mean by that is it will give you a very simple demonstration. There are 3 basic combinations. Rest stroke on the bottom, free stroke on the top, 2 free strokes, or the opposite, rest stroke on top and free stroke on the bottom. You can do 2 rest strokes at once also, though I've found that it's not comfortable. I can do it, but it doesn't seem to have much use. I'm sure you could find some place where it would be great.
Django music.
But, so let me demonstrate. It's important to practice the fingers separately and then together. The point is to learn how to do it together. So the thumb rest stroke, I will do the opposite. The finger rest stroke, the thumb free stroke. And
This is interesting. So what he's going to show and develop is two different melodies, two different ideas, happening at the same time, and changing the dynamics of them. And this is interesting to think about. How could we apply this to the accordion? Because the accordion is an instrument unlike the guitar and the piano, where we cannot really select the dynamic of each thing that we're doing. We can do a lot of different things at the same time on the accordion, but they're going to end up being the same amount of air. Let's just say that. The same amount of pressure in the lungs is going to go to everything that we're pressing down. And I'm being very careful to say it that way, because I think those of us who everybody will think about, okay, how do I create balance? How do I make sure that my left hand isn't burying my right hand, or whatever, or if I'm playing two things in my right hand, that the thing that's important comes out, or whatever. And so there are ways that we do it. It's just different. You can't just play the left hand harder than the right hand and it will be louder like you can on the piano.
right now, I'm associating deliberately res stroke with being loud, free stroke with being soft or medium loud. So we've got loud and soft. Loud, soft. Then after you've mastered that, try to do them together.
Wow.
Like.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in now and suggest a way that we could do this. I have not prepared this, so this may not work, may not be a good idea, I may not be able to do it. But here's one idea that I can think of. Same amount of pressure in the arm, that's the rule, of course. But playing lightly on the surface on one hand. There's light. Same amount of pressure. Now I'm going to show you what pressing down all the way would be. Here's lightly. I'm not changing my arm pressure at all. My arm is staying the same. And you do hear a difference. Okay. With the left hand, same deal. Let's see, let me get to the same note. You can do this on the free bass. I'll switch to the Stradella later, but let's see what happens here. So that's on the surface, now all the way down. Same pressure with my arm. Same pressure with my arm. So if you can do this, then you believe me. If you've tried it, then you believe me. You might not if you haven't, but what's happening is this. My air from my lungs and my stomach, my diaphragm is the same. But the hole that it's coming out of is changing. The resonance, the amount of air that's able to come out, how that is being projected, right? When I say ooh, it's being absorbed more. Ooh, and I promise you I'm not changing my dynamic at all. I'm not changing my lung strength. The velocity of the air is staying the same, right? That's what I mean. It's a little hard. I don't quite have all the language to say, because as I said the word dynamic, that's not the right thing, because the dynamic is what we're perceiving. The audience, you or my ears, the listener is perceiving a softer or louder thing. So that's not quite accurate, because the dynamic is changing, but the velocity of my air is not changing. Okay, so this is one way that we can practice independence. So if I do, I forget what he did. I think the right hand was loud and left hand was soft. So if I do soft left hand, or surface left hand, and then profound, that's what Jacques and Natalie say, profound, all the way down. That's better, that's more on the surface. I'll try together. It's very hard to do. I don't know if you can hear the difference out there when I play them both together. This might not be the most interesting to watch and think about, but it's fun, you know. It's fun to try to interpret this. I think before it looks like he's just setting it up and he's gonna get more and more complex. I think I'd have to spend a lot of time on this step, just one note, and then maybe 2 notes. We'll see where he goes with this.
So, you'll find it amazingly difficult if you've never done it before.
Yes.
I mentioned this in a previous video where the thumb, in this case, I feel like I like to control flesh and to come up away from the string as opposed to through it. We want to always do motion opposing thumb and fingers. So we want to squeeze with the same force, which you can do when you do both free stroke. So now they're both equal, both mezzo forte, let's say. And that's the most natural thing to do. But it's more unnatural, but more musically sophisticated to play loud and soft at the same time. The same, and then the opposite.
I'm noticing one thing that benefits the musicality and the listening is I was choosing to do them on the same pitch, the exact same frequency, middle C in both hands, and he's doing them an octave apart, and that's better because your ears can distinguish the difference between the 2 volumes better, and you can, yeah.
You can hear a huge difference between this and this, right? So then you have to go back and forth.
Okay.
Notice I'm changing the whole position of my hand to help me get into this position where the thumb wants to go down into the string. And in this position, the finger wants to come up. It doesn't want to press it through. It doesn't want to do.
All right, that's enough of that video because it's starting to get pretty guitar specific, but it's interesting, and I assume he's gonna develop into more complex patterns or melodies or whatever, not just stay on one note. Maybe he is, I don't know, but we can see that's an idea, and it keeps us thinking about 2 different things at once. Very, very hyper focused. Can I make these 2 different things different? Okay, one more video and then I'll break out the Stradella and we'll apply this idea of singing and then polyphonic audiation to Palmer Hughes, which I think ideally that would be a great way to start if possible, you know. Let's see. Let's watch this one. I hope this doesn't have, this looks like it's not gonna violate. Yeah, okay. Let's watch this video. 3 minutes called Is It Monophony? Is it homophony? Or is it polyphony? Mono, meaning just one. Homo, meaning the same. Or poly, meaning more than one. Nope, right off the gate, I'm gonna get copyright struck. Okay. Alright. Let's go here. Alright.
Somebody said, hold on. Hold on. Oh, somebody said, hold on. This quartet number. Snap your fingers. Clap your hands. We just want to encourage somebody. What our quartet says, huh?
Alright, this is homophony. One melody at any time, and everyone else is the backup. Okay. So we're talking about the importance of the melody here. So what seems like it's a melody, a major thematic voice.
Here we go. Tell somebody, sing, hold on, hold on, it'll be.
All right. All right, this is homophony. The viola has the melody with the piano accompaniment. Okay.
Yeah, I throw my hands up in the air sometimes, singing hey-oh, baby, let's go. And it goes on. I throw my hands up in the air sometimes, and singing
This seems like polyphony. Okay. Interesting video. Here, I'll let that play while I get the other accordion.
Thunder, feel the thunder, lightning and the thunder, thunder, feel the thunder.
All right. So, we'll go back to. We're gonna do the hearing the different parts sort of thing on now for standard accordion, for the Stradella bass, and the difference is that the Stradella bass can play melodies. Can I play melodies on it? What's going on? I can definitely play these. Right, a scale. That was the exercise from earlier. There we go. Doesn't sound that different. There is a point that you hear. You hear that? That's that. You're always gonna have a break in the scale. Anyways, it's not about that. It's about how to do this with the standard accordion. What's a good register? That's good. So the only thing that we have to change, or the only thing I think I need to address before I pull up the music, it's gonna be the same flow. And this is what I do. You know, I play a lot of umpapa stuff, whether it's on the standard bass or on the free bass or whatever. Go to the F. So you want to hear it. You want to hear your lines. You want to hear that's when we're playing umpa, the bass is one melody. Boom, bum, 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 right? But then there's the chord in there too, right? We'll talk about that in a second. But just the bass, if we sing boom, 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 or low, boom, 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 bo, 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 boom, bo, 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 bo. That's pretty lines. You know, those are musical melodies. Just to give you an example, and you want to hear those at the same time that you're hearing. Boom, let's say bum, bum, ba, 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 bum, ba. Let's see, ba, ba. Wrong melody note. Bum, ba, 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 bum. Etc. 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 like that. Boom. Okay. So, very helpful. And then you hear more stuff. Then you're hearing ideas over here, ideas over here. And we're going to talk about how to audiate, how to sing and hear the chords, you know, because you can, I think for me, I think the singing is really, really integral. It proves how well you can hear it. So let's go to the 4 score. That's good. I just have to move, not that, I have to move me over. So we're doing this on very simple music, so that way I can do it, I can show you, and then you get the idea. It's easier to explain on very simple music, I think. Let me find Palmer Hughes. Okay. Okay, this is a great place to start. Number 1. So, let's give ourselves a C. Ba, ba, ba. That's really where the note is. Feels so high for me. Ba, but that's exactly where it is. You don't always have to sing everything where it is, but if you can, you should. So if I just sing that melody, 1, 2, 3. Ba, and then I stop. Okay, great job, Dallas. Then I want to hear it. 1, 2, 3. Loud, clear. Can you hear it as an accordion? Can you hear it as a violin, a trumpet? Okay. Now let's talk about the left hand. So the left hand we have pa. Now we can't sing a whole chord. So what I suggest we do is we sing the third of the chord. So bum, that's the bass. Boom, da, da. That's the E, which is the third of the C major chord. Boom, chick, chick, boom, chick, chick, boom, chick, chick. Can you sing that? Boom, chick, chick, boom, chick, chick. All this works. I want to say all this stuff works as a first step or first, works. Even if you're not hitting the notes at all, which I think I'm barely hitting these notes. Why don't I see that? Hang on. Oh, I gotta turn this on. And then this. There we go. Okay. So I have here as the first, you can't see my mouse, but if you look at the little Chiron thing that I put up there, I have here as the first step because that's where we want to get to. And today you may be able to sing, but you probably can't. I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe I'm not giving the everybody enough credit. But let's say that you can't sight sing, or you've never heard the melody before, and you've never heard the melody before. Well, then you'll want to hear it before you can do anything, because how are you going to hear something that you don't know what it sounds like? So that's why we're singing first. But then on repeating the next day and the next day, in my opinion, or what I'm doing is I'm practicing hearing first to see what's there, how much melody is up there, man, because what I want to do is I want to get to where it's all there and I hear everything super clear. And my thesis is that the more I ask myself to be able to do that, the more it will, the stronger and stronger and stronger it will be. Okay, so just this simple one measure exercise. We've got a lot to work on here in terms of musicianship and this polyphonic hearing. So, so let's do just the melody first. We can breeze through that so we know it sounds like bomb. So let's hear it in our head. 1, 2. Okay, now let's play it. 1, 2. Okay, now let's sing it. 1, 2. Ba. Excellent. And now let's sing and play. 1, 2. Ba. Okay, now last step, which is not written on there. Let's make it musical. How can we make one note musical? Let's go. Ba. Okay, 1, 2. Ba. It's an idea. There's a million ways to do it, but one way. We breathe life into it, not just dead. Ba. Ba. Okay, a couple other ways. All right, good. Now, let's hear the left hand. Do you remember the left hand? Pa. Let's hear it. 1, 2, 3. Let's play it. 1, 2, 3. Relax. Okay, now let's sing it. 1, 2. Pa. Do it again. 1, 2. Pa. Now let's play and sing. 1, 2. Pa. I'm repeating it, but it shouldn't be repeated. It's just one measure. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. I'll address that in a second. NYC. Okay. Alrighty. So we've gone through the right hand, all alone for this first measure thing. The left hand. Now we're gonna do the sort of the real work. I mean, it's only the real work if you're ready for it. Never rush to get anywhere. Work your hardest and be motivated, but we can't rush the process. Easier said than done, or easy for me to say. So let's work on the right hand. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna play the left hand, and I'm just gonna hear the melody of the right hand. 1, 2, 3. So that sounded like da. Okay, now we'll sing. Now I'll play it. Here we go. So playing the left hand and playing the right hand. Ready, set, go. And I'll add some music to it. 1, 2, 3. Make the most out of this little measure. Okay. All right, now I'm going to sing the melody. I will not play. I'll sing the melody as I play the left hand. 1, 2. Again, 1, 2. I'm adding crescendo because I'm trying to do something to it to give it some life. All right, now I'm going to play and sing. 1, 2. I'm better at that crescendo than I am the singing crescendo. Okay, good. Now we're gonna hear the left hand while we play the right hand. 1, 2. We're gonna do all these steps on the left hand now. 1, 2, 3. Stop. Let's try it again. 2, 3. Okay, now we're gonna play the two hands together. 1, 2, 3. I should have added the crescendo. I didn't add the. Why didn't I add the crescendo? Because I'm not hearing it, right? That's why. 1, 2, 3. Okay, something like that. Now I'm gonna sing boom ba ba as I play. 1, 2, 3. Boom ba ba. Okay, I'll do that again. Ready, set, go. Boom ba ba. Okay, now I'm gonna sing and play at the same time. Ready, set, go. Boom ba ba. All right, and that's how you do it. So we have time. Let's look at something that's more music here. Let's see. I think this is good to extend it this way. There we go. Okay. So the melody's gonna go bum bum ba bum. And that's it. And the left hand's gonna go ba 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 ba. We got to do something at the end to show that it's done. Okay. All right. So that's the sound of it. Let's hear the melody. Bum 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 bum. 1, 2. Okay, and I'm feeling this one's easy for me to attach to because it's a very simple shape. It goes up and then back down. Da. So now we'll sing it. 1, 2. Bum 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 bum. That's better. Okay, and now we'll play it. I think we did it in reverse order. As I said at the beginning, you will find the order. My order and what I have written here is not even necessarily these 4 things that I have here: play, sing, sing, and play. Is not necessarily what I would do in that order, and I would probably mix it up deliberately. Though I'd be like, oh, I should do this afterwards. The idea is to rotate between the two, and you find it's like a circle. You know, oh, I'm gonna jump to the opposite side, and I'm gonna do the one that's next to it on the circle. Go the other way. See what's strong, what's weak, that sort of thing. Okay, let's play it. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And since I met Jacques and Natalie, they probably said this explicitly, although I'm not sure if they did or not. But I've come to this understanding of a beauty of dynamics is if I want to get louder between, say, 2 notes, make the note that I'm on come up in its life. So if I'm on C, rather than playing C and then the E, the next note is louder. This is not good. You'll hear it. C, E, G, E. It is true that we want E to be louder than C. However, we don't want to make it change like that. What you want to do, I've talked about this in the live stream before. Think of it often in my teaching, I say it like an elevator. You're riding the elevator from the 1st floor up to the 3rd floor, and the E is on the 3rd floor. You get out on the 3rd floor at the E. So you say C, E. Don't keep getting louder with the E at first. The life of the E is 3 beats long, so we are going to get louder sort of maybe halfway through, maybe earlier, maybe later. To say halfway through is not accurate. You need to intuit it and figure out where it should be. Intuit it and study it musically, which might take 1 millisecond. It might take 2 minutes, but whatever. Repetition will help and listening will help. But the point is, the identity of the note, if we understand a note is loud or soft, is the sound of the note at the beginning of the note. Or the dynamic, mezzo forte, forte, fortissimo, right? It's the beginning of the note, but then the note is probably, the dynamic of that note is probably going to do something. Get louder or get softer. Those are the 2 things it can do. Or both, right? But that's going to change, but not immediately. If you change it immediately, we don't understand the character of the note. It's like spasming person or somebody going from changing states. We don't understand. It's supposed to have a volume to it. So the C starts. Now I can get louder. Now I can get softer. That is beautiful music. And that's something I absolutely learned from Jacques and Natalie. 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Disregard my inconsistent articulations, but okay. So, what step are we on? I don't remember what step we're on. I think putting the two hands together. Yeah. Okay. So we did that. I don't know. Let's sing it while we play left hand. 1, 2, 3. Da, da, da. I need more breath. I think when I close the bellows, I should shorten my note and breathe it again, so I can really. It will mean a shorter note than I would want to play, but it'll mean more expression. 1, 2. Da, da, da. And I think I'll get better as a singer. Okay, now we'll play. 1, 2, 3. The basic idea. I could get better at that bellows change a little bit. Now we'll sing and play. 1, 2. Try again. 1, 2, 3. And at there's movement. There's a kind of movement in the crescendo and the decrescendo, which is not even really what I want to talk about. This is not like a little live stream on expression and dynamics, but I recognize it. I recognize it. Why? Because I'm playing and singing. And like I was talking about earlier, one of the benefits of doing the two at the same time is that the voice will tend to be more expressive than the body will, usually. Even if you're not totally hitting everything, you are connected. You're living it, right? You're living the thing, and so that's more connected. And all right, so now let's go to the left hand. So we're gonna hear the left hand first. 1, 2, listen. Okay, now we're gonna sing. 1, 2. Pa 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 pa. And I tried to practice my crescendo as I knew it was gonna follow the melody, right? Okay, so let's do that again. Let's sing, and let's hear the other melody as we sing. 1, 2. Pa 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 pa. You know that this is cool. I love kind of like this all being an experiment in a laboratory, because even in this live stream, I'm starting to realize where I hadn't thought about actively audiating and singing at the same time. Everything was sort of alternating, playing and audiating, but I hadn't alternated that, and I find that I'm not very good at it. I'm gonna do that again. 1, 2, 3. Starts off. 1, 2, 3. Pa 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 pa. To make this song pretty, I think we need to slow it down at the end, even though it's so simple. The song isn't doing much. Give it a little retard at the end. Always work to make your exercises musical, right? The best exercises, and what Jacques says, I'm not sure I completely agree with him, but maybe I would if I just went about it a little bit differently. But that there's no point to doing any exercises that aren't actually music, you know. So scales, for example, aren't useful. And I tend to agree with him. When I have students that want to do scales or other exercises, I often will say to them, you know, not all the time, but often I'll say, well, you know, does this exercise that you're bringing, that you've suggested that you're interested in doing, is it similar to music that you want to play, right? So there is a place for scales, of course, and for other sort of exercises, but there's a lot of music that is made up of scales, you know. Lots of jazz music looks like scales, and polka music and Mozart looks like scales. But if you're not playing that, but there's a lot of music that doesn't look like scales, you know, multi-octave scales. And so if you're not playing that and you are spending a lot of time and struggling with other stuff, maybe you want to make your exercises have the melodic or harmonic or rhythmic content of the music that you are playing and working on and want to get better at, you know. And Jacques' idea is make exercises on the music, out of the music that you're playing, you know. That should be the only exercises. And more beyond that, then it's because his work, the work of Jacques and Natalie, is not the work of teaching harmony and theory and rhythm. It is the work of teaching expression. So for him, it's always, okay, even though we're making exercise on this, let's make it expressive, you know. And I think that's very purpose built. That would do it, I think. That would always make you a better musician, you know, because it's like a puzzle to solve, especially in a context like this where it's a method book and we are not to assume that the method book is written with great beauty, this 4-measure melody. I think if we don't have this ethos that we are always going to add and interpret and perform with musical intent, you know, and we don't see anything written there and we don't hear any model of it, then it might be the default to play it without those things, to just say, well, this is an exercise on getting the fingers to play at the right time, doot, 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 and the arm to move at the right time. And that's what it's about, you know, and that's it, and nothing else. It's not about anything else, and I won't worry about that. Okay, I'm really kind of wandering here. So, yeah, so that's interesting. So I like this idea of audiating even more, practicing playing. One. I'm going to audiate the left hand. 1, 2, 3. Pa, pa. Okay, now I'm going to sing the left hand. 1, 2. Yeah. Now, okay. Now I'll practice 2 different ways of performing, right? This is really fun to think about. So I have, it winds up being like this sort of matrix, like a grid of possibilities, you know, of combinations. So I just played the right hand, and there are 3 different things that I can do with the left hand. And before I was only doing 2 different things, like on that bandoneon thing, which I've only come up with this work a couple weeks ago. It's bringing in other stuff, you know, but this exact thing is only a couple weeks old in my work. And last week I didn't practice very much, and this weekend I didn't practice at all. So it's fun to come back to it. But there are 3 different things that my left hand could do, or that I could do with the left hand part. I can audiate it, which means imagine it. I can sing it, and I can play it. Those are the 3 different things. And same for the right hand. So what I can do is like fix my right hand to only playing it. So if I'm only playing, the right hand, but I'm going to run through those 3 things in the left hand, not even combining them yet, although I should always be audiating. But I've already done the audiating part. Now I'm going to play. All right, 1. Oh no, I'll finish with playing. I'll sing now. Pa pa. Here I go. 1, 2, 3. Pa pa. Pa pa. Pa pa. as I sing, I'm trying to be expressive with the dynamics with it, right? To try to make as close to the music as I want. Okay. So then the last thing to do without combining singing is to play the left hand. All right, so now I'm playing both parts. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there it is. Cool. This is great. So work that practicing audiation in. Okie doke. I had some more things, but I think this is great. This covered just about everything that I wanted to do. And, well, all the real deep stuff that I wanted to do. Let's see, let's get rid of that. I'm going to talk about a little bit of upcoming stuff and a little bit of news. And something I just learned in the chat that we should kind of celebrate a little bit before we go. The first thing that I want to talk about is that the book club is coming. I have no idea if you guys want to do this with me or not. Is that going to pop up? I turned off the wrong thing. I see. There we go. Now that's on. There we go. Okay. So it's a new system for these overlays that I'm trying, and this one's a little bit less intuitive. The book, which I started reading on over the weekend at the campsite, which is cool, is called Casals and the Art of Interpretation. I'm not too far through it, mostly because I think it's a lot of music books are like this, where I think it's hard to read it alone without examples. This book references, I'll just show you. Basically every page has music examples, which are, I suppose, just as much. The text is a little bit more important, but the music examples are also pretty important. However, it's possible that, somebody reading the book might not know all the examples, like me. Like it's all classical music, romantic, classical, Baroque, modern era stuff, and a lot of it I don't know. I would say the majority of it I don't know. I know some things, but there's just so much classical music, and it's not really my biggest thing. So I feel like I want to hear these, and so they talk about that. Just to kind of hype the book, it's great. There's two forwards and an introduction. Two forwards and a preface, and it's so perfect for the vibe of this live stream, because it's all about like how much Casals felt the music and how his whole thing is about making music have life and have feeling, and that's the most important thing it needs to do, and so that's perfect for us. And then the author goes into a number of different things, but I understand the book more. Here are the chapters here. The first principle, which is interesting, finding the design, which we kind of touched on some of these ideas, finding the design at least. The first principle is to make it alive, which the author sharing Casals says over 15 pages much more eloquently than me just saying make it alive, but that's what it's about. The first principle, a lot of it is like we talked about, adding dynamics to a piece to make it more alive and more feeling, more expressive, and where to add the dynamics, right? Okay, add the dynamics, but we could very easily add them in a way that doesn't help the interpretation. So how do you do that? Well, one idea is, as the melody goes up in pitch, go up in volume, and vice versa. As it goes down, go down. Anyway, I haven't gotten further than the second chapter, Finding the Design. But apparently Casals also worked with, and I think the author's experience with Casals also was in these orchestra settings. And, oh man, who is there? There's like a famous conductor that mention. There's a bunch of just basically everybody in this book. All famous people are like Casals was like a super duper badass musician, like one of the greatest of all time, certainly greatest of the 20th century, the era, the century that he lived in. Both as a cellist and a conductor. And so with a conductor, then he's like imbuing his musicality to all the people, and it goes to great lengths to talk about how not only did he describe and demonstrate how to play these parts, what literally what to do with it, right? But also he himself is this very vibrant, feeling human. And so as he's rehearsing the orchestra, he's singing parts, but everybody is so moved by his leadership is such a kind of superficial word for what this is, but he's singing, he's kind of imploring, he's working with everybody, and everybody, the orchestra themselves are motivated and take on this deeper investment in the music, these orchestras. So if this sounds cool, get a copy of this. Mike Siaka in the chat last week, I think, was the one that said that you can find it on archive.org. You can borrow it, I think. You could get it at your local library. I'm going to try to hit, let's see. Let me see how many weeks there are in July here. Calendar. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4. Okay, so I'm going to start every live stream in July. I'm going to cover like about 50 pages, and catch up when you can, or stay with me or whatever, or just enjoy it. There's also tons of video of Casals playing live and teaching and rehearsing. And I think there's at least one documentary on him from the 1950s that's on YouTube. So we're also going to incorporate that. So the live streams of July are going to have a little bit of the book and of Casals, because I think probably the best way to really get the vibe is to hear it from him and see him doing it and talking about it. Okay, so that's that. Then the other thing is I wanted to talk about before the last thing that we do is next week is the 4th of July, falls right on our live stream, and I thought, well, this is interesting because like it's we have a lot of patriotic music that we associate, and I think a lot of us. I grew up in a small town, not too far away from a military base during the Gulf War, so there was a lot of patriotic music and parades and stuff like that are a part of my childhood, and I have a certain kind of good feeling about it. Nowadays, I much more feel like war is really horrible and often avoidable. But anyway, that's another story. I'm not nearly as, entranced by patriotic music, although it's still around. Nor do I want to listen to accordionists play patriotic music for 2 hours. So maybe we'll have one or two. I know I definitely have a couple favorite performances of patriotic music that I like to hear every year, so I'll play those for sure. But I was thinking, how do I do this? This is America's birthday, right? I'm not sure. The accordion doesn't go back that far. So I thought, well, we haven't done Zydeco music yet, and that is very much an American accordion genre of music, something that exists in America, and I have no idea how Zydeco musicians feel. I mean, not that they all would have the same. I guess I'm trying to say, I don't mean to imply that Zydeco musicians feel that they are playing, a very American music or something that's related to anything other than what they are. But I just think that it's, as far as trying to weave some sort of connection, that's a good one. And it's something I've been wanting to do. So if y'all have favorite Zydeco YouTube video performances, please kind of prep them or try to remember to bring them next week and put them in the chat. I would love to pull those up and play those. So that's what's going to happen next week. And for the rest of the week, I'm not sure, or the rest of the month rather. I got some more things in mind. Okay, finally, I just got word in the chat that Nick Ballerini, who's an accordion player and somebody very much in the accordion scene for a long, long time, he sold accordions, he taught, he did all kinds of stuff, that he passed away yesterday, and that sucks. I know a lot of people that liked him a lot. And I think we should end by listening to some of Nick's music. My condolences to everybody that knew Nick and is missing him right now. Let's go here. Let's see. Two L's in Ballerini. All right. Here's a medley. Proud Mary, Take 5, On Green Dolphin Street, Georgia on My Mind. That's a pretty vibrant, vital medley. And look at him playing this matte, what do I call that? Matte olive? Army olive green accordion. Jamie Mashler has one similar to this. Cool. All right, we'll check out Nick. We'll check out a couple Nicks.
It's a long time since I've had diarrhea. Summer leaves.
Well, the title of these, that's not what he's playing. What's the first melody? Does anyone know what that first melody was? This one is definitely Autumn Leaves. What was the first melody that he was playing? I was just kind of, my brain just went to like, oh, it's an introduction, but I think it's a first song. Go.
It's a long time since I've had diarrhea.
His MIDI went away.
Summer leaves. Green Dolphin Street.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Cool.
About
All right, cool. Let's check out another something maybe AM 950. Okay, cool. Ah, that's what it is. All right, we'll find more Nick Ballerini. Here's Nick's YouTube channel. Let's see what we got here. 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah, I think Nick sold a bunch of accordions too. So he's demoing them. These demos are probably good. Let's do this Art Van Dam.
Van Dam model.
Nice, nice.
940 Excelsior with 2 in the tone chamber, a low in the middle, and there's a third that is not in the tone chamber. One of these does not work. Oh, I know where. Let's see. One doesn't work. Nice bass sounds. Rich sound.
Cool. Thanks, Karen. Karen said that first tune was Kiss Me Once and Kiss Me Twice. What was that tune that he just played at the beginning of the demo? That was fantastic. Try to find some old stuff. Nick Ballerini. How back? How far back? See him playing this bell.
Very responsive. Handmade reeds.
Now that's some nice blues, Nick. Dr. Zydeco, cool. Very cool. Man, I did not really know Nick. I wish I had. Bummer. Bummer. Alright, let's watch Nick outside, and then we'll call the stream a day. Check in with the chat real quick. NYCLA MIA says, I bought my AM 1100 Frank Morocco model from Nick Ballerini. You're missed, Nick, but your music lives on.
Singing the itsy bitsy spider, Mason. It's louder.
Sing loud, Mason.
Sing loud so they can hear you.
You're singing loud?
Do it again.
Alright, that's a cute one. Alright, everybody. We will be back next week. We'll be doing a little bit of the book club and a lot of Zydeco music. And celebrating the 4th of July. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, BGR. I don't know. There's a lot of death. I don't know. I guess the longer you live, the more death is. Who knows? Anyways, you've got to have a lot of death. Makes you think. It works on you in strange ways. I know I'm not the first, and all of you out there have experienced a lot of it. Anyway, just kind of puts you in a mood. How lucky are we that we have music to have in our life? I wish you all the best. Happy music, happy life, happy health, and I'll see you all